Episode 13 of Captivating the King picks up at the great cliffhanger from its previous episode. We see Li Yin and Meng Wu tearful. Meng Wu forbids Li Yin from going inside before asking why Li Yin insists on following her when he knows he will die. Just then, Dal Ha attacks Li Yin, but Meng Wu intercepts and takes the blow instead. Mr. Zhu arrives and apprehends Dal Ha. Li Yin takes Meng Wu in and begins to treat her wounds. Li Yin insists on getting a royal physician, but Mr. Zhu is adamant on taking her to the state tribunal. Li Yin sternly commands for a royal physician to be brought over as he'd regret it if he lost Meng Wu. Mr. Zhu commands his guards to examine the area with extra vigilance. The Queen Dowager shares a cup of tea with Senior Court Lady Dong. Senior Court Lady Dong refuses since she thinks Li Yin might return to the palace anytime soon. The Queen Dowager says she'll put in a good word for Senior Court Lady Dong with the new queen. Dong chuckles and says that she is reminded of the old days when she was appointed to get closer to the former king to protect Li Yin. She recalls Li Yin's question about someone poisoning the late king. Her words more or less point fingers at the Queen Dowager. Senior Court Lady Dong shakily makes her way back to her chambers when she sees the royal physician and others leave. She inquires if Li Yin is back and the head eunuch says he will call for her once the king has returned. Mr. Zhu warns the physician about Meng Wu and asks for a detailed report. The physician and his assistant diagnose Meng Wu and ask for some privacy to treat him. A while later, the royal physician updates Li Yin about Meng Wu, Jesus' health. She might not see through the night because of her fever. The physician profusely apologizes and Li Yin recalls the previous false report. The royal physician recalls it as doing a favor to an acquaintance. The acquaintance is none other than Li Jie-nam. Jie-nam had said Hisu is the daughter of a brother-like friend of his. Li Yin summons Jie-nam right away to confirm the confession. Jie-nam confirms that he was aware of Hisu's treason, but he never played a part in those. After he was appointed the Inspector General, he had a change of heart after meeting Li Yin. He had informed Hisu of his change of heart as well. Mr. Zhu does not like hearing this at all and tries to warn Li Yin against Jie-nam. Jie-nam says he is not scared of any punishment and he is prepared for death even, but he requests Li Yin to go gentle on Hisu once she comes to her senses. Li Yin assures he would. He is also stunned when Jie-nam reveals that Meng Wu, he S00, is the kin of the master of the house they are currently in. Basically, Li Yin is shocked to find out Hisu's real identity once and for all. Master Combe and Mr. Zhu visit Chu Dal Ha in captivity. Dal Ha inquires about Hisu and is worried for her. Li Yin leaves and asks Mr. Zhu to lead the way. Hisu's house help is worried about her and Dal Ha. A bunch of guards at Hisu's hut takes Hisu's personal maid, Jagang Yin, away to an ailing Hisu. The next morning, Li Yin prepares for the day but makes changes in his plans to accommodate his visit to Hisu. Li Yin takes him in with him. The Queen Dowager asks for a new queen and Li Yin says they should wait until the Crown Prince is in mourning. When she expresses her feelings of agony seeing the Crown Prince, Li Yin says the head eunuch will greet her instead. After Li Yin and the Crown Prince leave, the Crown Prince says he does not mind waiting for the Queen Dowager's permission to visit. He also requests to see Meng Wu, but he realizes the severity of his request and apologizes. At the private council of the principal directors and other lords, they all think over finding a new queen. Minister Huan, the father of the deceased queen, fakes a cry. Myung Ha arrives with the news of change in the king's schedule for the day. Minister Huan speaks a few words of fake decorum and the principal director leaves soon after, followed by Hyung Bo. The Minister of War is angry at Myung Ha for Li and is not even thinking of getting married. He wants to meet Meng Wu and another minister informs him that Meng Wu has not entered the palace since the queen passed away. Myung Ha says he has been out of touch about Meng Wu's whereabouts and the ministers are not happy with a change in his behavior. The principal director and the Queen Dowager are concerned about Lee in not choosing a new queen and the court siding with Myung-ha. The principal director decides he'll get the court to pressure Lee in issuing a decree for finding a new queen. They think over who could be a good prospect for a new queen and decide on former Minister of Justice Kim Na-seon's daughter. He also assures her that he will take care of the Crown Prince Munseong and Myung-ha in due time. Senior Court Lady Dong visits the royal physician and inquires about his visit outside with palace with Mr. Ju, but he does not utter a word. She corners one of the assistants and blackmails her, but the assistant keeps quiet. The Queen Dowager's personal maid spots and questions them. Senior Court Lady Dong lies, and so does the assistant. They head to Dong's chambers where she bribes the assistant. Senior Court Lady Dong is stunned by the revelation. She is reminded of the times when Lee Yin brushed her away. Myung-ha visits Mong-woo's hut, but no one is there. Hyung-bo follows closely and makes an offer of friendship, but Myung-ha dismisses it instantly and leaves. Hee-soo, Mong-woo, finally wakes up. The word reaches Lee Yin and he sighs in relief. He summons Myung-ha promptly while Jae-nam and Hee-soo's house help are worried about Dal-ha and also anxiously await a word from Lee Yin. The following morning, the principal director visits Lee Yin with a list of candidates for 6th royal secretary. He urges Lee Yin to replace Myung-ha over the fact that he could cause problems for the court. Lee Yin dismisses the request. The principal director also urges Lee Yin to take action against Mong-woo and Jae-nam. Lee Yin listens but dismisses him. Hee-soo dons her disguise and heads out for some fresh air despite her frail state. Jagan-yin goes to fetch a robe for her when Lee Yin arrives. When she returns, she sees Lee Yin and returns to give the couple some privacy. She spots Mr. Ju, who asks her to leave as he'll guard the spot. She rebuffs and says she'll guard her lady instead. Mong-woo is surprised Lee Yin came to visit her. Lee Yin says he could not come earlier because he was ashamed to face him. His crime started 3 years ago and continues until this date. He reveals that he used Mong-woo to do what he wanted to do all this while, appoint Prince Munseong as the crown prince. Mong-woo admits he overheard Lee Yin's words to the principal director at the Yanchwaijong the other day, where he said he would kill even his next of kin if it meant the greater good. That is why Mong-woo grew more angry at Lee Yin, but his love grew stronger with time and hence he decided to assassinate Lee Yin. Lee Yin realizes the complete picture and the two share a tearful hug. Lee Yin and others sits in a room where Lee Yin announces that Mong-woo's, Hee-soo's, father is alive and well. He is the spy in Ming and the person who will take care of the princess in Qing. Mong-woo cries out when Lee Yin reveals that Lee Yin was also searching for him all these years. Lee Yin asks Mong-woo to go and rest, and the latter leaves to relay the news of his father to Jagan-yin, and they hug in joyous relief. In the room, Mr. Ju is firm on sending Dal-ha to the state tribunal because he pointed a knife at Lee Yin. Lee Yin visits Dal-ha and asks Mr. Ju to leave. Dal-ha says that Hee-soo is innocent and he should be given the punishment instead. He believes that Lee Yin informed against him to the Qing. Lee Yin gives Dal-ha 2 options. The first is to hide his crimes and start a new life laying low, and the second, to confess and take punishment for his crimes. Hee-soo's mate comes rushing in, informing her that Dal-ha is being taken away by the Special Arms Unit. Lee Yin returns to the palace and summons the ministers. He announces he will conduct the interrogation himself. Hyung-bo goes to the principal director to tell him that Dal-ha serves Mong-woo, so Mong-woo has to have some connection to the case. The principal director sees this as a golden chance to remove Mong-woo and Myung-ha. He approaches Lee Yin and narrates Chu Dal-ha's past and requests to interrogate Dal-ha. Lee Yin says that Dal-ha is not to be interrogated. He has made a report and requested to find the actual spy who put the nation at risk. Principal director loses color from his face as the episode comes to a close. The episode review. Talk about a roller coaster ride in a historical K-drama. Lee in digging up hidden secrets from 3 years ago was not on our drama bingo card. It was bound to happen sooner or later though, given the way Mongwu aka Jesus Past is also revealing itself. The principal director and the Queen Dowager better watch their steps now. One wrong turn and they will lose everything in an instant. Their past deeds and greed are now catching up with them. Regardless of the chemistry and proclamations of love between Li In and Hisu, the love seems to be missing. The words feel empty and lacking of true emotion, don't you think?